Hi class, I wanted to be sure and show you a little bit more about Andy Warhol since we are working on this project about him. This is a photograph of him when I was your age. For some reason, he used to kind of freak me out. I know now as an adult that means he just looked different from what I was used to. I didn't need to be freaked out, but what I also know is when he was young, he was often ill, and sometimes illness takes a toll on our body. But also we have genes and we look the way we look for a reason, and it makes us unique. So we're working on this for me picture where you're showing 4 sides of yourself. There's 4 different ways out of your many moods and emotions and sides that people don't know about you that we're displaying using colors and lines and shapes. To do a great job in this project, we're doing interesting cuts using lots of colors and doing our best with scissors to make interesting designs behind the transparent sheet with our face on it. At the end of the project, you're really going to think about what those 4 sides of you are. Here you can see I wrote colors and feelings having to do with my 4 personalities I wanted to show in my project. This you're going to do in your journal before you can be considered done with the project. So here's another thing I want to show you. This looks like just an ordinary box you'd see in a warehouse or in a big box store that you could buy soap pads. But it is actually art that Andy Warhol made for exhibition in museums. We can see an interesting little pile there in a gallery, and in the background you might notice there are some portraits. This is what he is known for, using different colors in his prints of people's faces. He is also very well known for his Campbell's soup prints. He decided to experiment with the colors of a Campbell's soup can. He had an affinity for the soup because when he was sick a lot as a child, this is something his mother would make for him when he stayed home from school. This is so popular that they actually came out with Campbell's soup that had colorful labels in his honor. We'll talk more about that later, but here is a 4-way portrait of Marilyn Monroe, one of his most favorite subjects for his portraits. You can see how each quadrant of this art shows different things about her. These are 2 other portraits. He was so famous that people commissioned him, meaning they asked him and paid him to do portraits of them. On the left is a cool portrait of Muhammad Ali, and on the right is Michael Jackson. So what I want to share with you is our next Andy Warhol-inspired sort of mini project where you can design your own soup label for Campbell's. These students colored soup labels and came up with interesting ideas for soup flavors to go along with it. So I want you to think about foods that you enjoy. It could be anything you like, and maybe even come up with some combinations like raspberry pizza and design a soup label. These are some other ideas that students have come up with in the past. Maybe you get to make gummy worm soup. I want you to brainstorm at least 3 ideas and then decide on a color scheme in your journal before you begin on your label.